Yeah, so start off with visitors.
I'm Kathy McCommons, PTO rep. Hi, that's all I really have to say.
All right, short and sweet.
Yes.
Okay, revenue and finance. Mr. Rosenthal.
Yeah, I hand a couple of things out if I could. I guess if I were thinking I'd have done this before we got started, but. We'll use this in personnel, but I just want to get it out so I don't forget. Take one, copy. I did put the minutes for the committee meetings from June and July in your spot. Those are inadvertently not included in the communicator. So we'll get those approved on the agenda for Thursday evening. Everybody have one of everything? All right, now moving back on to revenue and finance, we will have the amended tax duplicates. In June, we approved a duplicate based on what I think the duplicates are going to look like, but then when we get the actual duplicates prepared by the county assessor, there are sometimes minor differences. So we'll go ahead and have those on the agenda for Thursday evening. I have 3 tax forgiveness requests. The first one you've seen before. It goes back to last August, actually, where Mr. Mizan had purchased a couple of properties in Beaver County. And because Beaver County doesn't communicate with Lawrence County, the properties were sold free and clear of all taxes. That was not conveyed to Lawrence County, so therefore the taxes are still showed as owing. So the board went ahead and waived the taxes because that's what the intent of the sale was for, but it was only on one parcel of property. Mizan did not realize there was a second parcel because in Beaver County they combined it into one. So what he's done is he's come back saying, can you waive the taxes for 2007 through 2012 on the second parcel, which was what the intent was a year ago. So, I mean, it showed back up. And actually, it's been a confusing thing. I've actually checked with the assessor. The property has transferred per the deed, but it's still showing up on the Lawrence County records as owned by somebody else. So we're in the process of getting that straightened out. And hopefully at some point we can communicate with Beaver County how important it is to share that information back and forth to avoid situations like this. The second request is from the First Baptist Church. They had a couple of parking lots that they did not realize were not tax exempt. So there are some back taxes due from the period 2009 through 2014. The combined assessed value on the properties is $24,004, and the estimated outstanding tax is approximately $2,300. So they're coming asking the board if the board would waive those taxes. Apparently the church is struggling financially. They don't have the wherewithal to pay those back taxes, and they can't get their taxes current taxes paid because you have to pay the back taxes before they'll accept the current taxes. So I know that they did submit to the Lawrence County commissioners. The county has waived those back taxes. I know they've gone to the borough. I know the borough has a meeting tonight, so I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but they've also come to the board asking for that same forgiveness. And before we discuss this, go on to the third one if we could. Cynthia Gibbons purchased a property which is in Wayne Township for $4,000 with the intention of knocking the property down. She felt it was uninhabitable and it was creating a nuisance in the neighborhood, so she spent $5,000. There's an intent now to demolish it. I think that's supposed to be done in the next couple of weeks. And she's asking for the 2014 taxes to be waived on that property. I mean, it's a community type service, but I'm not sure, maybe Mr. DeCaro can chime in whether it's something the board can or cannot do. So those are the 2 issues that we have. I'm looking for direction in preparing Thursday's meeting. I didn't get the line side, Mr. DeCaro.
In terms of Ms. Gibbons' request for tax forgiveness. You could do, if you wanted to, you're not required to, but you could because it's within a time period to forgive the taxes. It's up to the board whether you
up to more people asking for the same thing?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that's a, you know, I can see that type of situation a lot. And obviously, if it's just the failure to pay taxes,
You she'll owe taxes next year on this property, it'll just be a lesser amount, correct?
Correct.
Because it's just not, but the dwelling, I mean, she could have went and just argued that it was uninhabitable and had the.
I think what she did was she went to the county commissioners asking, there's an exoneration process you go through, the county commissioners reduce the assessed value. They said you may as well take this step first in trying to get them exonerated or waived at the school district level, and then knock the property down, and then they would consider changing the assessed value of the property. My thought was, if you're gonna do it, then maybe we make the motion to say that it's contingent upon the property being demolished. And if she chooses not to demolish it, then she should pay the taxes on it.
Board okay with that?
Yeah, that's.
In the First Baptist Church as well. So what I would do, once the board passes the motions, I would write a letter to the Lawrence County tax claim indicating that's the action the board took, then they would adjust the records of the board.
the only one for the church, we just have to look if we can go back to that.
Okay. I think the assessor said we could. He said you can waive the taxes, but you can't adjust the assessed value going backwards. But we can confirm that.
Yeah, let me check that one first.
Can I ask one question? And I think the one area they're talking about, the church parking lot, is where that huge building was, that fell down.
Yeah, I think that, I don't want to say I know the exact story, but I believe that once they put that addition up, it would have become exempt property. But then when they had the wind knock it down, that took the exemption away. They have got, the property's now exempt. They did go and they got the property changed to exempt as of 2014. But when they built the building, that was to solve this. And then I guess a wind shear came and knocked it down.
It was just a shell of the building anyway.
The taxes that were due and owing from when the building existed.
I think it was on just the parking lot, not the building. That I would have to check on. Didn't realize.
The building was going to be a church hall, if it had ever been completed.
We should see if those taxes relate to that building that
It fell down.
when they had.
But I think they sold it.
No,
Had
they-
somebody
They
come
sold the
in,
material.
pretty
Sold
tear
what?
it down,
Material.
and sold it to,
Pine
They
Valley.
had plans in selling it, and I
Pine
think
Valley,
it fell
you said.
down before it, didn't it, Eric, didn't it
Well,
fall
they
down
sold,
before?
they sold the material and the structure to Pine Valley Bible. But yeah, it was damaged in the storm before that, which was kind of the last straw. There were, that was a rough thing from the get-go.
I checked the assessed value on the county. I mean, it's a $12,200 assessed value, and it doesn't show a building, so I guess what you're saying, Mr. DeCaro, is that going back to 2009, I'd have to check the assessed value to see if there were a building on the property at that point.
When did it fall down, about 2 years ago?
I think it's longer than that.
Was it big?
I don't remember.
All right, well, I'll get additional
Oh, yeah,
detail.
we bought a Christmas tree there, it was 2 years.
All right, I'll follow up. Item number 6, Affordable Care Act software. Come January 2016, we have some pretty rigorous mandated reporting that we have to do on W-2 forms for all of our employees. The consultant that we work with through the Allegheny County School Health Insurance Consortium has put some software together that will enable us to pull from our Harris or ProSoft to the W-2 forms and make it a more manageable thing. So I'm asking that we go ahead. I've got money in the business office supply account to pay for it. So I'm asking that we take a look at the agreement on Thursday and move forward with that. And then the vision insurance contracts, we have their 2-year agreements that are expiring in September. So for the period 10/1/2015 through 9/30/2017, PSEA Health and Welfare Fund has offered a rate hold, so the prices will remain the same. So we'll submit those contracts for the board to consider on Thursday night. And then number 8, we probably could have done this in December, but with the board changing presidents, Mr. Newpower needs to be approved as a signatory on the wampum tax collection account, which is with Northwest Bank in Wampum. So we'll get that officially taken care of, so he can sign checks to transfer money from the tax account to the general fund. And then last but not least, the repository sale. Again, these are properties that are in the repository for unsold properties. They've been through the judicial sale, the upset sale, and they've just not been able to sell. So there was a bid for $500 on a property at 730 Wampum Avenue. And in the old days, the tax bureau would just accepted it, but now they're asking the board to validate it. So we'll submit that for consideration on Thursday evening as well. And that's all under revenue and finance.
Okay, personnel will do an executive session. Education, PA educator, we'd like to repurchase that program. That's what we use for applications for all kinds of positions. The price, the annual cost remains unchanged from the previous year, so we're recommending that we continue to use that software. Facility requests. Band boosters are requesting permission to use Helling Stadium complex, including use of restrooms, home side concession stand, ticket booth for annual Pie Festival, Thursday, August 27th, from 3 o'clock to 10. Obviously, they'll use the gym like they did last year if they get threatening rain, so we'll have to set that up and make that kind of decision. For good weather. Amateur Baseball Federation requests use of Freedhoff Field and Sanders Field, Little League Baseball Field from August 8th through October 31st, 2015 for minor pony and Little League Fall Baseball. Use of the field will be arranged around the high school fall ball schedule. Many games on Sunday afternoons will start after 1 o'clock. Lincoln High School Blue Band Boosters request use of visitor side concession stand for the 2015 home football games at Helling Stadium. EC Little Wolverines request permission to, in addition to the dates already approved, to use the Helling Football Stadium facility, including football field, locker room, restrooms, concession stand, baseball fields, light, sound system, scoreboard, for Sunday, October 4th, 2015, due to the conflict in the initial request of October 4th, 2015, due to the initial request of October 3rd being denied. We did contact them. They know that nothing can start till after 1 o'clock. So I think the first game's like at 2. Chamber of Commerce is requesting use of Lincoln High School Auditorium to show the movie It's a Wonderful Life for free to the public on Friday, December 4th, 2015, around 8:30 as closure to the light up night that night. Security Services, Capital Asset Protection has been asked to submit a proposal for weekend security services for the 15-16 school year. They've done that 13, 14, and 14, 15 years at an hourly rate.
And they did submit a proposal, and it's the same hourly rate, the same agreement, with just an addendum extended. So.
Okay, location agreement, an agreement between FNT Enterprise LLC and the district will be submitted for the board consideration of regular meeting. The agreement authorizes FNT to film at Helling Stadium in connection with the program currently entitled Friday Night Tykes, Western Pennsylvania. I know Mr. DeCaro has been going back and forth with their attorney, and
The agreement's in form that's acceptable to myself, so by the time it went back and forth, we didn't have it for approval last month.
for license agreement, Human Services Center agreement between the district and Human Services Center will be submitted for board consideration at the regular meeting. The agreement authorizes Human Service Center to utilize district buildings to provide counseling service to district students. Gleghorn has been working hard to try to get counseling services for parents and students here within the district, so they don't have to travel far distances. So this would be a nice addition to for parents and for students that are in the district that need services. Student Affairs, Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, an annual notice to parents and eligible students on FERPA rights and state board policies for 15-16 school year will be submitted for board consideration. We produce those every year. Same with the non-discrimination policy for 15-16, that'll be put out. Glade Run, an agreement between district and Glade Run Lutheran Services, 1516 will be submitted for board consideration. The agreement outlines the responsibilities of each entity in the placement of education and district students referred to Glade Run for educational services. Costs range from $22,173 to $36,142 per student per slot, based on the requested educational services and program. Beaver Valley IU ESL agreement, this is for our English as a second language students. Has submitted instructional service proposal for ESL students services for the 15-16 school year, an estimated agreement of $49,362. Provide services for 6 students, at the hourly rate of $38 per hour, will be submitted for board consideration. Keystone Smiles AmeriCorps, Mrs. Gibson is working to identify a candidate to work as a tutor through the Keystone Smiles AmeriCorps program. It's anticipated an agreement with Keystone Smiles AmeriCorps will be submitted for board consideration at the regular meeting. The agreement provides an overview of the program, the host site agreement, information on host site personnel, financial responsibilities, assurances, program support and implementation, training and technical assistance, and termination of the agreement.
Is that just the regular AmeriCorps people that you use? Okay, when it said tutor, I kind of threw me. That's what they,
Yeah,
that's what their title is. Okay.
Tuition student. Karen Knox has submitted a request to allow her grandson Tyler Knox, a resident of Beaver Falls, to attend Hartman Intermediate School for grade 6 as a tuition student for the 15-16 school year. Tyler has attended our district as tuition student for the past 2 school years. Harris School Solutions. The district has transitioned from Harris School Solutions, which is ProSoft, to Tyler Technology for its student information software to assist in completing the 14-15 child accounting process, as well as to ensure a smooth transfer of data information from one system to another. Administration is recommending that a 90-day extension for maintenance and support be approved with Harris School Solutions based on a proration of the annual fee. The cost through September 30th will be $29.55. This has been a pretty big endeavor, trying to get all the data over from ProSoft to Tyler. A lot of checking and double checking going way back in years as far as student data, health information. So, Ellen's been working on it constantly with different spreadsheets. So we're asking that we get a little bit of an extension with Harris, so we can have both systems for a little bit longer until we transition fully to Tyler for our student information. Helling Stadium ticket recommendation to close the proposal submitted by the athletic director with regards to reserved seating section at Helling Stadium. Board direction is requested. I don't know if everybody saw that, or Mr. Morel is here, and I guess back behind me, kind of give some insight into that.
Theory is they're just not getting used, right?
Yes, yeah, I mean, we got them half, if not more than half in it, and I'd rather see them with, like I said, with the stadium, with still the school personnel being there to rub off each side. Definitely no students or children there without their parent or guardian, and it'll be first 5 rows, or whatever we need to get for senior citizens, administration, and school board. How many rows would we need, but I'm thinking the first 5 rows would definitely, I think, conquer that. Or you guys can sit wherever you like, but just in case.
No, that's a good idea.
I mean, it's empty.
It is.
I mean, it's just
Right.
empty. And
Might
it's-
as well use it,
Yeah, I mean, you got
Good
people that
idea.
could
I think
use
it's an
it,
excellent idea.
and we'll just keep all the seating at $5. That way, because it was 6 for those seats, keep it all 5 and basically use it to make it look like we're, at least got some filled up seats.
Okay.
Thanks.
There were some miscellaneous items on there, the current enrollment, and then PSBA officers, and closed information of the slate of candidates for PSBA. PSBA is suggesting that the board review and discuss the candidates at its September meeting, and direct the board secretary to cast a vote for board supporting candidate. Voting window is open through September 28th.
Maintain enrollment is, right now, it's under 1,800 total school districts. You know what it was last year at this time?
No, I don't remember. No, I don't have it off the top of my head.
Just off the top of my head, that's the first time we've been below 1,900 to start.
I got the third and fourth grade were doing the same basic thing with the, I guess this would be for you, Mr. Hewitt. You're pulling the reading support kids for Shearer and Birdie, and that's why their class sizes are the way they are. Some of those in one class is 28, 29 students. That's a lot of kids. Is there a way to balance that a little better without?
We had that discussion. There is a chance and possibility as the year starts that students may move into those other class, that other class based on their abilities. I know that, we try to focus on those students that need that help. That's why those class sizes are a little bit lower than the other ones. And I think we had an enrollment of about 6 kids in 4th grade over the summer, so that was kind of surprising. But
In which grade?
In 4th grade, we had 6 kids add, or a subsequent promotion based upon special education placement. So we went to transition day with 100, I don't know what the exact number is on your sheet, but I think we went with 113 or 114 to transition day last year. And then we had 6 who got placed over the summer. So exclude Mrs. Shear's class because no one was placed in that classroom. It means we had to split those 6 into those 4 rooms. So the two of the rooms got 2 kids, which bumped them from 26, 27 to 28, 29.
were there additional items, because I didn't get a sheet, was there additional items? I didn't get one of those. Was that, oh, they're all personnel, okay, I didn't, I'm sorry. I didn't know if there was something that wasn't personnel, okay.
The Historical Society. That was the first one.
Informational,
Yeah.
there's something, about the Historical Society. Compiling a chronological listing of founding dates of businesses, civic organizations, and government entities throughout Ellwood City. The Historical Society is soliciting ads at a cost of $35, $60, $120, and $400. If the board is interested in placing an ad, a collection can be taken and a check will be cut payable to the Historical Society.
Now I've got some information I can start at one end of the board and pass around if you want to kind of take a peek at what it's about.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Mr. Mancini.
I saw that.
Can I do some new business? I spoke with Mr. DeCaro, because I was concerned with the internet and how it changes things with Sunshine. So I asked him if he would just fill us in, because I'm afraid with the emailing and stuff like that, I wouldn't want to be in violation of anything. So how does the internet, if we talk on the internet, what does that mean?
Okay, well, in terms of like polling the board by email on the internet, you can't take any official action outside of a duly advertised public meeting. So you can't have a discussion and formal action taken. You have to be here in the meeting. Now, you can share information, obviously, through the emails, but you can't vote on any motion or any action.
So a discussion with 5 people, which is a quorum, wouldn't violate Sunshine? Because it's not open?
The nature of the discussion. If it's just informational, so, you're going to replace the boiler and trying to just understand what's going on, getting information to bring to the meeting to make your vote, that's permitted. But if if it's a deliberation to reach a decision, you can't do that outside of the public.
So, question and answer, and different board members going through why they think something should happen isn't in violation.
No, although the discussion and the decision should occur at public meeting. You can exchange information. You shouldn't have the bulk of the deliberation should not be occurring via email. It should be merely the exchange information. So the back and forth should just be a need to I'm not sure if I understand what it is we're going to be discussing it. Can you give me more information?
John, what would be legal for Joe to call us and ask us to vote over the phone? Nothing.
You have to, sunshine law requires that you vote in a public meeting.
Now, even if it's,
So you can't poll it.
If it's you could have straw polling, just to kind of get an idea, is there enough of a support to place something on the agenda, but that's not that can't be the official action.
And by rights, that shouldn't be an internet discussion either, right?
You could have straw polling in executive session, that's permitted, if it's just to kind of gauge, there's something to bring out in a public meeting. But we can't hold the board to say, here's an issue, do you guys approve somebody using that's usually a lot of what
so
happens.
if somebody forgot to apply for a field trip, forget it.
Too bad.
Okay.
John, thank you.
I mean, it's tough, and you can ratify things, but the problem is you can't have a policy that says we're gonna violate the sunshine law by voting over the phone, and then there's always the risk that it starts to progress from, this field trip to something more.
Okay,
Thank you.
go back to visitors.
I have nothing else to say.
Hello? Again?
No, go ahead, Dave.
A couple questions that I was looking for some answers for. Carpet at North Side, you had said that we're not, they on track to complete? Oh, gosh.
Gibson?
Doesn't look good.
It's horrible.
It's,
It's in progress.
Upstairs is removed, sanded, and cleaned up, the floor. Downstairs, they were finishing up a few little removals. They were actively sanding today. It was not done. But the floor has been ordered, and it is not in yet. So it's not gonna be down for kindergarten orientation. Once they put it down, they have to ship it to us, and it has to get acclimated to our climate for, I think, 24 hours. And once they lay it down, it has to sit for 24 hours before it's walked on. It's a very complicated installation because it's a double cut. So it doesn't shrink at all. It has no movement due to climate, which is a good thing. But you have to lay it on top of itself, two pieces, and cut them together. They call it a double cut, so that when it drops, it's a very tight seal. And we also asked for, it's a blue floor with 2 white walking stripes for our little ones. And so those are all extra cuts. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and hope that it's done for the first day of school, but it isn't gonna be done for kindergarten registration, which,
As long as we can get it done. If not, is there a plan to, if they can't get it done before?
Steve had already talked about that, actually going in and painting that floor. In between, which he already talked to them, that you could paint it still and put that floor down. So if that becomes an issue, it comes down to close to school starting, he can actually get a crew in there to paint it.
They be
first.
willing to put that in like on a Saturday, because when the kids.
they
go to
have been
school-
working on the weekends.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking, is
They have
they
been.
can't get it done before school, what do you do when school starts?
Yeah.
Well, they work nights.
Yeah. I think they're gonna try to do some of the installation even on the weekend. nights because it can't be walked on for 24 hours. So they'll come in on a Friday night and lay it piece by piece. And then they explained it to me today that they can work from both ends with, so they can have a crew feeding materials and they can have a crew working from one end and another crew working from the opposite end. Because there's no, it's like a terrazzo pattern, so there's no, it's not like a floor that you have to match. It all matches no matter what, so.
Perry, did Kate?
Yeah.
It was?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Although the part that isn't there really stands out.
Yeah.
It looks really bad now.
Places where the kids play are paid.
Yeah, no,
So it is,
right.
it's a dream
It's
come
been
true.
paid for a while, yeah, it looks really good.
Softball fields, I had spoke with Joe earlier today. I was in contact with Kristen, who talked to Steve about I wanted to bring in we wanted to submit a bid to the council, city council, about, helping us get the girls softball field up and running. Well, I guess when Steve re-talked to, I don't remember the name of the company that he used to do the field, they still want to sod it. So the bid stayed the same at $56,000. And when I spoke to Joe about it, but I didn't want to go to the council meeting today with a $56,000 bid, so I didn't.
Well, they have a recreation fund to put something in.
Right,
And
but
there's
I.
also the Beaver County Commissioner, since that is in Beaver County, have money set aside for Steeple Park that was never used.
Right. I don't doubt that, but I was hoping, and what I had,
Yeah.
mentioned to them was, he talked about getting a different bid that was more
Right.
doable so that I could present it.
Right.
But I don't feel like going in there with a $56,000 bill and
I
asking for
understand.
money, they're gonna kind of look at us like,
I understand, yeah.
so.
I'll ask Steve tomorrow. He was
Yeah.
off Friday today, so.
Right, if he finds something and he can get it together, I'll be glad to go
One thing
over.
we do have to consider is, this past year, can't remember what the total price was for the dirt put down, but it's now gone. It's washed off again. And regardless of what happens, come next spring, it's gonna rain again. And we're gonna have to put dirt on it again, it's gonna wash off.
Right, it needs to be
Unless something is
fixed.
done. That's what we're gonna be doing every spring.
Like I said, I don't mind going and presenting it to the council,
Yeah, I
and to the
understand.
recreation board. I would just like
That's
something a little
reasonable.
more manageable, and I don't even mind going down and speaking to Beaver counties. But again, I just think we need to have something a little bit more doable than to go in with that
I'll ask him tomorrow,
44,000
yeah.
sod. I mean, I know he called
Maybe
me because
going
it said
with
they
a
came
different
back.
company or a different,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
If they grade,
the cost, right?
$44,000
if they grade
was-
plant grass, you can still have that done now.
Yeah.
Well, that was the
For
reason for the
winter, we can
push
still
for
do that.
August. That's why I wanted to get it in, because they vote next week, and so I
Right.
wanted to get it submitted today. But when you read the letter that he submitted over to me, it said, we re-looked at it, but we really feel sod's the best method. So they resubmitted it, and there was
Sure it
also
is.
some little tidbit about some new program they have that the school district can sign up for. I think it's to help maintain, it's maybe like an annual cost, which I don't know anything about. They might have spoken to Steve about it, and they said if your school district's interested in it, but again, I didn't wanna go ahead with that being at what it was. A little
Thank you.
more.
Did that, can I ask a question? Did that include putting the drains in, or is
Yeah.
that specifically the facade?
No, that was the facade. I have, look at my phone, you can look at it.
Yeah, we're putting the drains.
Lasering it,
Then when she
leather.
said that they were talking about the sod, I'm going, not the crux to the problem.
40, yeah, but then it was fixing, it's the third base line, I believe, is what the proposal says, is fixing the drains in the third base side and doing the whole job, but like I said, 44,000 of it was the sod alone, and they said, after relooking at it, we still think this is the best method, and basically, I think they were gonna try to finance it, was what that other part was, and make payments for the rest of your life and keep your sod nice. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, if you're ready to fix a drain and plant grass, that's doable.
Right, well, that's what Steve had said, and
Yeah.
so that's what I was kind of expecting, but that's not what he sent me, so maybe we can get something together by.
I'm sure somebody would wanna do that.
Probably for a lot less than $56,000. Now, whether it works exactly the way we want it to, I'm not so sure. The other question I had was about Business Week and mock trial. When I was going back over the previous minutes, it brought back up. Was there any, I don't know whether emails went out with the teachers being in the summer, that we can get some, see if we can get a volunteer to
I thought mock trial, I think,
they need to
is
just.
that Jonathan?
Yeah, I think Jonica did say she
Right.
would, but I wasn't
I mean,
sure
as far
if
as,
she.
that probably won't start till school gets, we get teachers back here, we get some interest. I know Mrs. DeWano volunteers for
Right.
the attorney. As far as Business Week, that's a whole other endeavor. Like I think I told you, I think it cost like $15,000 that the kids went out and raised, and donations from businesses to get them in here. Erie used to run that, some company from Erie would come in and do it, and we would pay them, and so, we could look at trying to get them back again and what the costs are, and we can find some funding for it.
I mean, Jen was, saying how well her girls, how they enjoyed it, and
Oh,
they
yeah,
really got
it's-
into it.
You know, she didn't love it.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's, again, back to one of those more hands-on things that
Right.
the kids really get involved in. I just wasn't sure, we talked about it, but then again,
Yeah.
it gets lost, and I just
Sure.
wasn't sure if anything else had happened with it. That's all I
Right.
have.
Any other new business, old business? If there's nothing else, we'll go into executive session. For
Bye.
It's just a second.
It's